Alright, so last time I got the PEI plate installed and it was less than ideal. So I went to Facebook and what they recommended to me is to actually take some steel wool and lightly mar the surface of the PEI disc because the top layer is like 2 millimeters thick. So I figured I got some wiggle room. The reason I didn't want to do that in the first place is it did mention that not to damage it with your nozzle. So I thought, scratching would be bad. But, now that I think about it, they might mean that it might damage the nozzle. So that's probably something I need to do anyway, replace the nozzle. I have a bunch of replacements, but I haven't looked into how to replace it yet. So anyway, on Facebook, they recommended steel wool. I have this copper wool. I don't have steel wool around here. So what I did is I just took the copper wool, lightly mar the surface of the disc. Take your IPA, isopropyl alcohol, rubbing alcohol, whatever, and just let it sit there for a little bit before wiping it off. Sorry, I'm getting over a cold. And there we go. So I'm going to retest that print and we'll see if it prints any better. And once again, I am not worried about the skirting. It's meant to make sure the feeding is right and get all the crap out of the way. So I don't put too much stock that the skirting wasn't 100% printed. Okay, so it's been printing for a while. Initially, it looks actually pretty good. This little, I think it's a retainer clip that they called it, actually looks perfect. So I'm just going to let this print continue, and hopefully I have a successful print on my hands. These retainers are done. They look good. I'm not going to say the P word because I swear this machine has a microphone in it. And every time it hears something like that, it finds a way to mess up. So I will just let this go and we'll see how it turns out. Printing is done, and as you can see, it actually looks good. It's a little dark, but if I move this light around, you can see the retainer printed just fine this time. The bed is still, it's 66 degrees Celsius right now, so I'm not going to take it off right now. But what I did find is if I take this off and just put it aside, it cools down much faster. So alright, we'll let it cool, assemble it, and see what it looks like. Alright, it has only been actually 2 minutes, but this is nice and cool to the touch now. The bed still reads at 60 degrees Celsius, so as you can see it cools down a lot faster. But all I have to do is flex this, and the parts just pop right off. So it makes it really nice. And I just use the plastic scraper and scrape the skirting off, and that's it. We're done for that. I just reapply it and run the next print. Right, and there's the box fully assembled. Just unscrew the lid. There we go. It's a little rough closing it, but as the parts wear, it'll be just fine. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with that box. It actually printed out very well. So okay, these steps I would recommend before putting on your plate. Such as, make sure your Z height is like maybe 6 millimeters, 5 millimeters before you do anything, or else you're going to have the problems like I had where the head just crashes into the PEI plate. Second thing, make sure the bed is totally clean. You want as much adhesion as you can get, because this has to transfer heat between the bed and the PEI plate. So clean that off as best you can, and then go ahead and attach the magnetic sheet to the bed, and then go ahead and attach this PEI sheet. Go ahead and auto level after that, and then adjust your Z-axis. And then what I would do is take some steel wool or some copper wool like I have here, go around the surface of the PEI plate. Just mar it up a little bit, enough so that your prints can have some adhesion to the plate, little grooves in there. Then go ahead and clean it with some IPA again, because your wool will probably have some impurities that it leaves behind. And then I use Cura. So what I found works for me is Cura. The bed temperature is 70 degrees Celsius, so I raised it 10 degrees from its initial 60. And also my initial print speed and initial travel speed I set for 20 millimeters per second. I think the default was like 60 for print speed and 30 for travel speed. Maybe I have those two backwards. Again, raise the bed heat to 70 Celsius or plus 10. Initial print speed, initial travel speed, lower it to 20 millimeters per second. And that seemed to produce a good print for me, and I am happy with the quality. Okay, so my original plan was to have LED strips going up the supports, and then they would terminate up here, and this is where the adapter would be to plug them into the wall. Well, I found this neat STL file to print feet for this guy that would raise it up maybe about half an inch off the ground. And then I also found an STL file where you can actually mount this into it. So I'm thinking of going to the Tinkercad, combining both of those files, running the LED strips down here, and have them terminate underneath. I think that would be better. And also, so this is, forget the brand, I think it's Yusu. I have 3 of these spools. 2 of them are wound so the filament goes below it. One of them is wound so the filament goes above it. And if you can see, you can't really flip this around because of this right here. But I found an STL file for a filament spool holder that mounts horizontally on the unit, so I'm going to try that out. So I'm thinking maybe the next video I'll have that. As far as the PEI sheet goes, I have really not spent enough time with this to really recommend it as a necessity for the Q5. I mean, it is nice to have because this took 2 minutes to cool down compared to 10-15 minutes when I had it just on the bed of the Q5. And also you can just flex this to get your print jobs off, so that was handy too. But I will I'll give you my recommendation on whether it's a needed accessory or not for the Q5. I would like to thank Lee Alexander from YouTube for the recommendation of using number 000 steel wool to scuff the plate, and also to increase the bed temperature by 5-degree increments until I found something that worked. Lee, you're awesome. Thank you for your assistance.